everybody. Welcome to Dandelion Cottage and Marvelous Monday. I hope you're well. I've got a really cute card to show you today. This is the kind of card that you could use for any occasion. It could be a birthday card, a get well, a thank you. Today I'm going to make an invitation. And it's a combination of paper crafting and watercolor. It's very simple. And stay tuned till the end of the video because I'm going to have a special invitation for you. So let me show you what we have. I've got this stamp set called So Inviting, and this is a fantastic set to have because this is something that you will use time and time again. It's got You're Invited, Save the Date, this beautiful thank you, which you could use just about on any card. And then it has these really pretty decorative accents to dress up your invitations. It has all of the information about your event, and it has a couple of other little additional bits that you can use. I'm going to keep this really simple today. So I've got my trimmer out, which I consider an essential tool, as well as my bone folder. I use this every day, all day long. And I'm just going to take a piece of the very vanilla thick cardstock. And first I'm going to score it. This is 8.5 by 11. So I'm going to score it at 5.5 on the long side, so using the score blade, and then I'm going to flip it around to 4.25, just like that, and I'm going to cut that in half. So that gives me two card bases, standard size. These are 5.5 by 4.25, and you can just use your bone folder to give that a nice crease. And then I also have some of the Fluid 100 watercolor paper. This is 5 by 7, and you get 10 pieces of paper to the pack. So you could make 20 cards out of one package of this. And I already have a piece that is cut in half. Okay, so I just cut that down to 3.5 by 5. And I have some colored mats here ready to go. So this is Pretty Peacock, this is Cajun Craze, but you can use whatever color you like. And these measure 3 3/4 wide by 5 1/4 high. Okay, so I think that covers the paper. I'm also going to be using some watercolors. So I just have 3 colors here, yellow, red, and blue. That's it, just 3 colors is more than what will be needed. I have a brush and I have some water. So let's get started. I'm taking my half sheet of the Fluid watercolor paper and I'll zoom you in. Okay. And I'm just going to check to make sure that we're transmitting, and we are. Okay. So I've got my palette off to the side here, and I'm just going to start by mixing a little red and yellow together to get a nice sort of warm rosy tone. And I'm just going to use a few very simple strokes So I can make a little flower petal just like that. So if I use the point of my brush at the pointy end, I can make 5 little petals just like so. And I think I'll make those a little bit fatter. Okay, so there's one. Now I can add a little more yellow to the mixture to warm it up a bit. And I can do the same thing over here. And I'm just turning my paper as I go. There we go. And if those touch, that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. Now I'm going to take a little more yellow, warm it up a little bit more, and I'm going to put another one over here. Now I think you can agree that this is pretty darn easy to do. Alright, so there's 3 little flowers, and I can take the same mixture and just by making a couple of little strokes here, I can create what looks like a bud. And maybe have a couple of petals beginning to open. Alright, and then I can even add some little tiny ones. So maybe these are the tiniest buds that haven't even begun to open up yet. And I can add a few of those. Okay, so that's pretty easy. Now let's add some leaves. So now I'm just taking my blue paint and mixing in some yellow. Until I get a nice light green. And I'm just going to add some leaf shapes. And I'm just adding those here and there. Okay, now let's give these flowers some stems. These flowers and leaves. So I'm just taking the tip of my brush and I'm just making a little straight line. And I'm just connecting that to the flowers and the buds. And we don't have to do every single one, but just here and there. Okay, and we can even add some tendrils. Maybe a little one over here. Now to add a few accents here and there, I can take a slightly darker green mixture and just add a little more color at the base of some of these leaves. And I'm just dropping that right in there while it's still damp. And I can do the same thing with my flowers. So if I take a slightly darker mixture and just drop that into the center of the flowers, it'll give it a little more tonality. And that's all there is to it. So I'm just going to put this aside to dry while I get my card base ready. And I'm going to get out my stamp. So I'm going to use, today I'm going to use Save the Date. I have a scrap of Very Vanilla here, and I'm using Cajun Craze ink. And I'm just going to tap that and I think I'm going to keep this narrow, so I'm just going to go down near the bottom. Just like that. And then I'm going to trim that out. Put my ink away before we have an incident. I'm just going to get that pretty close to the letters. And I can look through the central channel here to make sure that I'm not too close. And then I'm just going to snip the ends. And if I go up through the center like that and give that a little notch, I can flag the ends just to make it look a little more decorative. And then using my bone folder again, I can give this a little bit of a curl. So I'm just sliding it between my thumb and the bone folder very gently. And then once I have it looking like this, I can curl the ends the opposite way. And now we have a nice little decorative greeting here. Taking my card base, and I have my piece of Cajun Craze cardstock. I'm just going to take my liquid glue. This is still pretty wet, so I'm going to be careful here. Normally I would give this plenty of time to dry, but for the sake of video I'm going to risk smudging. There we go. And I can just sort of slide that into position, get it exactly where I want it. And I'm going to do the same thing now on the back of this and adhere that to my card base. There we go. So there's the front of our card. And I can see that I want a little bit of a softer edge on some of these accents. I'm just going to smooth that out a little bit here and there. Okay, and I think what I want to do is I'm going to take some of my yellow and I'm just adding a little bit of water, making it a very kind of a thick yellow mixture, and I'm just going to dot that in the center of my flowers. Okay. All right, now going back to my save the date, I'm taking some dimensionals. I'm going to put one dimensional right in the center of my sentiment, and I'm actually going to bump that up twice. So I'm going to put a second dimensional right on top of the first, so it's a double thickness. And I'm going to take my liquid glue again and just run that just a little bit on the lowest portion of the curl there. Okay, and then I'm just going to place this, where do I want it? I think I want it right down here. And there's a really quick and easy watercolor note card that you can make. This could be a thank you, it could be happy birthday, whatever the occasion requires. And I just want to show you I have the inside of a card here already prepared. So again, this is using the wonderful So Inviting stamp set. And I would like to invite you all to join me in a live Zoom class. This is a free class. It's coming up September 17th, and it's going to go from 12 noon to 2 p.m. on Zoom. You can contact me at dandelioncottagedesign.com. So if you go to my website, sign up for notes, and I will be sending out an announcement and an invitation for you to join this free class on making these beautiful little floral note cards. And you can also see some other samples on the website as well. So if you're interested in joining me, I'd love to have you. It's going to be a lot of fun. I expect people from all across the country and even out of the country. And you just need a bare minimum of supplies, and I will be sending out a supply list. And also at the end of this video, I will have the supplies that I used today to make these two cards. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you'll come to our Zoom class, Beautiful Watercolor Note Cards, and I will see you next on Wednesday at 12 noon for Watercolor Wednesday. So stay well, stay creative, and I'll see you next time. Bye.